What's up, magical people? Welcome back to your most magical life. I'm Mia Magic, coming to you from a very magical place, wintry Belgium, at this fabulous castle where I've been staying. And we are talking today about the Gemini full moon. Now, most of you know, this is my sign. I'm very excited. I've been offline for quite a while. I've been traveling all summer. It's been very, very intense the last few months of this year. And this is a perfect opportunity to represent the exact archetypal energy that is at play here with this particular full moon. It's the last full moon of the year. And of course, because it is the last full moon of the year, I'll be leading a ritual at 10 a.m. PST on December 7th, which is Wednesday. So if you would like to join, you can sign up at the link below. And so I'll share what my experience is with it so that you can really see in real time, or like in a real life example, what we're talking about here. Gemini is the archetype of the storyteller, but it's not just about how we tell stories and how we regale and entertain people with our life or our lifestyle, with stories of legend and myth. It's also about the stories we tell ourselves. And because Gemini is the twins, it's about the reflective nature of reality. So it's about how we tell ourselves stories, and then those stories actually inform our reality. And we see the reflection of those stories in our world, in the way that we receive information, in the relationships that we have, in how we respond to the world, to other people, to our reality in general. So like I said, it's been a really intense year for me. I've been offline from YouTube for most of the last half of 2022. It's been a huge bummer because I don't want to not be doing what I love doing, and I love YouTube. I've been making videos on YouTube since way before there was ever any return on the investment for me, since before I had a website, since before I had anything to offer to you, anything that would create reciprocity or exchange beyond your amazing comments and you all being here. So I love making YouTube videos, and full moons are about coming to completion with any disempowering story or any of those ways that we're relating to our reality that are harming or hindering our fullest expression, right? Because Gemini is also the sign of the communicator, and communication is not just how we speak, it's how we express ourselves. It's how we show up. It's even the fact that right now I'm like, oh God, I'm like wearing this big jacket, but it's 0 degrees outside. So like, I gotta be wearing a jacket. So I don't wanna be like expressing myself wearing this jacket on this video, but it's like, am I gonna let that create a story for me, or like think that because I'm not wearing what I wanna be wearing that I'm like somehow less, or like it isn't gonna work or whatever? No, I'm just gonna show up here in front of this amazing castle and create this video for you guys because that's what I need to do. That's what's important to me. So from my personal experience, because full moons are for completion, completing stories, completing cycles, completing energies, I had to come to completion with not being the communicator, not being the storyteller, not doing the thing or expressing myself the way that I want to be expressing myself, which is here in relationship to all of you. Because this is the last full moon of the year, I had to come to completion with any of the stories or resistance or busyness that was keeping me from showing up here where I want to be. I want to be engaging with all of you. I want to be interacting with you. I want to be having moon rituals. It lights me up. This is what I do for a reason, because this is my mission. This is what I'm here on the planet for. So my opportunity was to say, okay, I'm going to come to completion with not making YouTube videos, with not telling the stories, with not communicating, with not expressing myself to my audience, the people who have supported me, who I would not be here without. That is the Gemini full moon opportunity for me. So what you get to look at is, where are there any stories that have been keeping you from being who you want to be? Or where are there any ways that you've been communicating, maybe with others or with yourself or with God or the universe, whatever your word is for it, that have been sort of disempowering you or keeping you lower or keeping you less or preventing you, but you don't want it to be preventing, because it's not like it's anything outside of you. That's what Gemini is really about. It's about like, okay, I'm here, but here's my reflection, and the world around me is my reflection. Everything I see before me is a mirror of me, right? So that's really the biggest invitation with Gemini, is to allow ourselves to understand that we are the mirror and what's being reflected. We are the story and the storyteller, and we are the result of those stories. Our life is a result of those stories. So this energy it's really impactful, and there's no accident that this is coming at the very end of the year. It's an opportunity for us to look at, okay, how am I ready to relinquish any of the stories or any of the limiting beliefs? Because even though Gemini doesn't necessarily rule our belief system. It's not like any sign specifically rules our belief system. It is the sign of our mind and our curiosity. And if we don't have curiosity, we get stuck, we get stagnant, we stop moving. And so this is a beautiful, beautiful chance for every single person on the planet who chooses, right? You know, we have to choose into these things, but we get to choose to reflect back on our year. You can do it month by month. I really love doing that. I love thinking about, okay, where was I in January? What was I doing? What about February? What about March? And really look at like where you traveled, who you were, what you did, what you were thinking, what your challenges were, where you triumphed, and really allow those things to sink in, see how you were experiencing life and your reality, and then see if you can use that information, again, sign of the mind, right? So this is about communication. Can you analyze, not overanalyze, but just analyze some of the challenges and maybe the lessons and what you learned and how you can allow what you learned to inform the stories that you want to be telling yourself moving forward, right? So a big story for me is about creating content. You know, I actually really noticed how my growth had been just totally consistent and really strong and powerful, and everything was happening. Not my personal growth. My personal growth has definitely continued through the summer, but you know, the growth of my channels and my platforms and reaching more people and inviting more people into a magical life, which is what I'm here for, right? So I noticed that those things were really growing, and maybe there's a possibility that I hit an upper limit. And an upper limit is a concept from a book by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap, that means where you're working away at something, or you're trying to create something, or you've created something, but then you hit what's called an upper limit, sort of like a glass ceiling with your beliefs. And that is like, okay, I can't go any further. I can't rise any higher. And so maybe it was an upper limit. I don't think it was. There's just been a lot going on, but I'm totally open to the possibility that it could be. And I want to use that as an example because very often it is our upper limits that stop us from doing things. So I was having massive growth. Everything was going really well. My business has been thriving. And I just stopped creating content. I was moving. There was a lot going on, but I just stopped. And part of it was because I just didn't feel inspired. Part of it was because I just had too much else going on in my mind to work on like my creative process, right? My foundations were moving, so I had to be focused on my root chakra before I could focus on my throat or my third eye chakra, right? And those are important things to recognize. It's really important for us to also acknowledge that, look at all these trees around me. It's winter time. They're dying. All of these trees have lost their leaves. Now, they're not dying. They're resting. They're gestating. They're waiting for the time to be right for them to be reborn in spring. So we have to also understand that we have seasons. We have seasons on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis in our lives. We are cyclical beings, especially women, right? We have a cycle every month. We bleed with the new or the full moon if we don't have too much artificial light or take birth control. You know, we're meant to bleed with the new moon. So there's this beautiful opportunity for us to really dive into what is right for me right now. And what have I been telling myself I need to do, or I should do, or I'm supposed to do in order to achieve something that then, because my motivation is should or supposed to, I likely won't even achieve. So that was my experience this summer, is like, oh, I feel like I should be making content. I should be doing all of these things, but it wasn't right for me for that moment. It wasn't the right season for me. And so if I had kept going and kept pushing, now again, this is the part where the upper limit can come in, right? There was definitely an element of like, okay, were there days where I could have sat and done this and created for you all and been in that right relationship where we are in exchange, right? You've been waiting. I've gotten emails. Are you okay? Is everything all right? What's going on? Where have you been? Which I appreciate so much. You guys are so amazing. I appreciate you so deeply. I could not be doing what I'm doing. I would not be who I am without you. And so there could have been days where I had just said, you know what? Today I'm going to talk to my audience. Today I'm going to create. Today I'm going to push through. But that just didn't happen. Am I going to get down on myself and like shame myself and blame myself and make myself wrong and bad? No, I'm not. I can't do that. I don't have space and time for that. That's not supportive. I just waited for the exact right moment to re-emerge, to be reborn, to come back, to return, right? This is springtime right now. And I knew I had to do it because I am a Gemini and because I wanted to come to completion with the story. Even though like a story doesn't have to be about telling yourself something, it's with the story of I'm not making content right now, or I'm in winter right now, or I'm not inspired right now. Any of those things, it's not about what I'm telling myself. It can also be just what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what's going on for you, what's real. It's okay for those to be stories in your life. You just have to look at, or you get to look at, are those stories supporting me? Are those stories helping me? And for me, over this summer, because so much else has been going on, that was what I needed. It was what I needed. I needed to support myself with all of my energy and focus being directed inward and making sure that like those stable foundations and all these retreats and festivals and all these things that I'm recharging, that I'm nourishing myself. With this, it's so important to look at, you know, all of us as content creators. I know many of you are audience members, maybe not content creators, but just so you know, it is actually a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to be creating something day in and day out. Like, oh, okay, in order to keep up with the algorithm, in order to keep people entertained, in order to keep people from unfollowing you, you have to post every day, or you have to do this, you have to be on YouTube once a week. All these, like, it's a lot of pressure. It puts pressure on your creative energy when that's not what creative energy is. It's not about pressure. It's about that rising from your fullness, which is why I'm creating this program called Sorceress that's about where you source your power, how you source your power. And source means to rise. It's what's rising through us. That is what our creative energy is meant to do. It's meant to like bubble up from within us, from that womb or that earth energy, and rise and emerge from us. And so that is what I absolutely had to do, because I couldn't let myself be under that pressure. I couldn't attach to the stories of like, if I don't do this for them, if I don't make this content right now, I will lose, or I will fail, or whatever it is, because any of those stories or any of those beliefs would have actually prevented me from coming back to you all right now, feeling totally supercharged, fully available, excited to lead this final full moon ritual of the year, and to feel like I have filled my cup up so much that I can now give to all of you from overflow, right? Like I'm here in a Belgian castle, you know, like everything's fine. And what we all get to look at, it's important for us to take care of us. So if that is a challenge for you, you get to look at the story and come to completion with the story of, do I feel worthy of taking care of myself before I take care of others? Do I feel worthy of following my guidance, of tending to my needs before I allow in the needs of others, or the opinions of others, or the shoulds or supposed tos of the external world? My internal world is then what determines my external world. So I have to make sure that that is my first priority. So really looking at, especially if you're a mom or a parent, looking at how can you serve and support yourself in order to better serve your children? If you own a business, how can you serve and support yourself in order to better serve your employees, your clients, your customers? If you are an artist, how can you support yourself in order to better support your creations? And we're all lifestyle artists, right? But just something to look at. So I really hope that this has supported you looking back at your year. What wants to come to completion? What expression is ready to die or fall away, ready to be laid to rest, so that then whatever it is that you are really feeling coming through you, or whatever it is that's been brewing in your cauldron or gestating in your womb, right? Like ready to be born, can emerge, can rise from within you and be here, be part of this world, part of your external reality, and give your gifts, share your magic, express who you are and what you're here on the planet to achieve and accomplish. So thank you all so much for watching it. Again, if you'd like to join me for a Gemini full moon ritual on December 7th at 10 a.m. PST, I would absolutely love to have you. It's going to be a really juicy, beautiful one, because this is my sign and I'm in Europe at these castles right now in my little winter wonderland Christmas village, living my best life kind of experience. And I am so honored always, day in and day out, by your presence and being here with me. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I am Mia Magic, and as always, it is my deep pleasure to welcome you to your most magical life.